The Phillies with a big win last night, but was it a statement win, as the announcers like to say at the end of the game last night? Sixers Summer League continues. The excitement's worn off on this Summer League squad, I believe. Joel Embiid, maybe we'll touch on that a little bit. Team USA, and of course more of the Saquon Barkley Giants drama dropping all over social media yesterday. We got lots to talk about. Trending in the AM. We're live with all your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill wherever you are watching. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, that follow button. Wherever you're watching, make sure you do what you can to spread the word and get as many people into the show, interactive with this show, and involved the show as possible. I still got 4 days left on my Facebook ban, so I still cannot share the show for 4 more days. So make sure you guys are doing what you can to help me get this word out on this show this week. We got lots to talk about. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. My name is not showing up on the screen. I don't know what I did wrong there, but whatever. Hope everybody is well this morning. Hope everybody, is ready. We're 1 day closer. It's Thursday. We are 1 day closer to the weekend. The heat might slightly break today, and it might cool off tomorrow, but it is brutal out there in general. So we got lots to talk about. Red hot Phillies, Sixers Summer League, Joel Embiid, Team USA, foul out. Everybody hates him. The most hated person in the USA right now. And, of course, more Saquon Barkley, Eagles, Giants drama. And I love to see it. I love to see it. Really, I do. So we're going to get into it all. We're going to talk about everything. There's some early comments. Nooms, no one will care when we are hurt. But to me, these wins are expected given the Dodgers. They obviously have some injuries. And that's why I say how much of an important win was it or wasn't it last night? I think it was big. We are going to get into that shortly, Nooms, for sure. I still think it was a big win, regardless of the case of who's missing for the Dodgers. Good morning, Duck. How are you? Hope you are well. Adam, always great to see you bright and early in the morning. Brett already chiming in. The Giants are scumbags. Saquon and showed, yeah. Dude, I can't believe the Giants approved some of these video clips that have gotten released for Hard Knocks, man. Ridiculous. It really is. So we're going to if you guys haven't seen it, there's a video clip of the Giants GM basically telling Barkley, yo, go what you're doing. And are you really going to give us a chance to match it? Like, how stupid the GM of the Giants sound. We're going to get into that for sure. Joel Embiid with a stinker last night, fouling out in 12 minutes, elbowing a dude in the face, not able to look. We as Sixers fans, it takes Joel Embiid a little time to ramp up in-game action. It's something we've been dealing with for a long time. Phil's best record against teams over 500. Focus should be health and targeted bench strengthening in other areas. We're going to talk about that for sure. Yeah, I'm in Facebook sharing timeout. You got to understand, I do 6 shows a week plus own a pizza shop. I was trying to calculate it. I share a good 350 to 400 posts a week. Every so often, they think I'm a bot, and they say, timeout, I'm restricted. So it happens. I really don't use Facebook for anything other than sharing this show out and sharing pizza shop stuff out. Dude, the clips, it's comical, Adam, the Giants clips. But, man, it's also pathetic. It's also an embarrassment. It also makes you appreciate Howie Roseman so much more. Like, it really does. Because Howie Roseman, A, would never have let the Saquon Barkley situation happen under his watch. B, Howie Roseman would never let clips like that get out to the public. It's insane. Insane. People using strength of schedule against the Phillies have gotten quiet. That is true. I think it was a huge win for the Phillies last night, 4-3. A lot of interesting tidbits of it to me that make it huge. And I know Noom says, yes, the Dodgers are missing some of their key bats and a bunch of their starters, etc. But I think winning last night was important because winning after losing the series to the Braves, obviously minus Harper and Schwarber. Harper out again last night. I hope that bruise on his hand is no big deal. I think coming out and winning the series against the second best team in the National League, whether they win or lose tonight, is massive, and they should win tonight. So I think it was a big win for the Phillies. In the eighth inning, Matt Strahm, was it the seventh inning, I believe it was, coming in and striking out Shohei Ohtani with 2 on to get out of that jam. Massive moment for Matt Strahm. Massive moment for the Phillies. Massive moment just to tell the league, yo, guys, don't forget, we are for real. We are not fakers here. We are the best team. I feel like I have to be a machine sometimes to get through my day-to-day operations of life, between shows, between the shop, between the dogs, between life. I feel like I got to be a machine. And to answer you, Rick, there it is. Fox's Pizza Den, Kennett Square, PA. I'm there almost every day. I'm not going to be there much today. I got some personal things to tackle today, some doctor's appointments, oil change on the car. But I'm there normally. I'll be there for a few hours setting up. But, yeah, Fox's Pizza, Kennett Square. Good morning, Little G. Hope you are well. If you are Saquon or Paul George and you know what your team will give you and you get more, why give your old team a chance to talk when you are, look, the fact that the GM didn't want to franchise tag him again and all that, that's one thing. But to go out there and blatantly say, well, can I count on you? Can I get your word that you're going to give us another chance to talk again if you really do want to come back here? Like, I don't get what the point of that saying that to Saquon Barkley was. You can hear it in Saquon's voice like, yo, what? You don't trust me? Like, seriously? Like, I don't get it. Like, why would you say that? I always say if Howie Roseman was ever fired from the Eagles, and there are people out there, Matty B, one of them from EOP, that can't stand Howie and wants him out of here. Howie Roseman would get a job like that from another. Before the ink is dry on his termination papers, he'd already have a new contract. This showing guy, the Giants, wouldn't get a job working the equipment room in Philadelphia. Pathetic. How about the announcer at the end of the game saying, I did not catch that. I've seen people tweet it. I heard them say what a huge win it was for the Phillies. And I was like, yeah, it's a big win. Statement win, I think they used the word. Statement win. Announcers make mistakes. I don't think he really – I just think I don't think it was like he was preparing a speech and just went off the teleprompter, F you San Diego or whatever Ron Burgundy was. I just think it was a slip of the tongue. But I still don't think they gave the Phillies the credit last night in the broadcast. And I got home around 8:30, 8:40. So I watched the last 3-4 innings of the game last night. In those 3 or 4 innings, I don't think they gave the Phillies the credit they deserve for being literally the best team in baseball. So I would have liked to have seen a better job on that aspect from the announcers, but we know that's not going to happen. Good morning, Eric. Hope you are well. While I think Matty P has decent Howie points at times, it just goes down to show you how much other guard. Exactly. You can think what you want about Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman, about Rob Thompson of the Phillies, of, a lot of people in Philadelphia sports. Like me, I criticize Daryl Morey nonstop. But then you see what, like, the Bulls organization is doing. And some other, and you're like, maybe we don't got it as bad as we think we do. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And Hard Knocks, and I haven't watched Hard Knocks in so many years. And luckily with social media, I get the gist of the season by reels and clips that are posted. And you know what's funny is I do actually have HBO Max now on my TV, so I could watch it. I don't. I just haven't had time. Don't feel like I need to because I'm seeing everything, right now, on clips and all. And this season, like, has this been the way? Like, I don't remember Hard Knocks being this detailed on phone call conversations before the draft, during the draft process. Like, I thought Hard Knocks was just the 3 weeks of training camp, and that was it. And the cutting of players and stuff like that. Like, this is before camp even started, and we're getting Hard Knocks. Like, when did Hard Knocks become this detailed is what I want to know. But, this GM of the Giants, there's a reason why the Giants, I know he's only been there for 2 years, and he's not the one that gave Daniel Jones the contract. But what you've heard for the last 2 weeks coming out of his mouth, he sounds like an idiot. He sounds like a bozo, a nitwit. How's he got a GM job in the NFL? Matty B doesn't like. I wish Matty B was in the comments right now just to defend himself. I hate when he doesn't get to defend himself. I want people to be able to defend themselves. I think the day we compare ourselves to garbage like the Giants is the day we have lost focus on holding our own front office accountable. It's a slippery slope, but they charge a ton of money. Look, I don't know what the Giants fans are saying about their front office, but if they're doing anything but heavily criticizing them, then you got to question them as fans for sure. Because that front office just needs to be fired to the moon. Plain and simple. Fired to the moon. The way they're handling this situation. Look, I don't know the rules of Hard Knocks, the production when you're signed. You're not even signed up. Like, I guess you could volunteer, but most teams are kind of forced to be on Hard Knocks to an extent. My question would be, don't they have some say in what they're allowed to? Aren't they allowed to edit out some of it? Aren't they allowed to tell some of them, like, no, I said this, but I don't want our private conversation with me and Saquon Barkley aired on a show on HBO? Like, don't you get some ability to what goes on the editing room floor? Like that right there? Editing room floor. The conversation wasn't just stupid. It was awkward. You can hear Saquon like, yo. And I'm a big body language guy. Like, I love to study people's body language. And the body language, I put the menu up the wrong way. I want the menu right there. There we go. A little free Fox's advertising. The body language of the GM, showing or showing, I don't even know how you say it, showing or whatever, just looked like he was being as fake as humanly possible. Like, they don't care. They don't care about Saquon. They don't care about anything. He just sounded like he had no clue. Had no interpersonal skills. None whatsoever. Jerry Jones would have a limo sitting outside the Eagles facility just waiting to take Howie. Yeah. Damn. I think the only person Jerry Jones would give up his decision-making abilities to would be to someone like Howie Roseman. Seriously. Oh. Got my pen. Got to have the pen there for purposes. I think Hard Knocks chose the Giants because they knew it would be a train wreck. Yeah, I mean, there's certain rules on who could be on Hard Knocks. Like, you can't have a new coach, I don't think. You couldn't. Maybe you can't. You can say no if you were in the Super Bowl. There's rules and stuff like that. And some teams choose Sometimes HBO pushes for certain teams. Sometimes the league in the past has had to step in and pick a team. But you got to think that the Giants have some say on the final cut. And maybe the Giants ownership is looking for a way to get the GM out of there. And this is look, we got to fire him. Look at how stupid he looked on TV. Maybe that has something to do with it. Jerry doesn't want to play by the new rules. He was so used to throwing money at every problem. I don't know if he has a good cap guy. Well, it's about time we start talking about Howie Roseman's tree, coaching trees, GM tree, because there's a lot of guys Howie Roseman has taught going out around the NFL. But yeah, the whole point is, whether you like Howie Roseman or not, whether you're on board with Howie Roseman or not, you got to realize that he would never, ever allow these kind of clips to be shown to the public. Are the Giants one of the worst teams in the league? The New York Giants? There's going to be a competition, for worst team in the league. But the Giants are, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst team in the East, in the NFC East. The Washington Commanders, I don't know. First year, new coach, new quarterback, probably at some point. Which one did they draft? I don't even remember. The Cowboys are still a talented team, but who's going to hold out and who's going to be ready and who's not? Seems like Dak's going to play on his last year of his deal. CD won't. Parsons might not. So the Cowboys are still talented on paper, but they're still the Cowboys, and they still have a lot of issues. We'll get into an NFC East prediction show or 2 or 3, maybe a whole week, as camp gets ramped up and stuff like that. But the Giants have no chance of competing with a team like the Eagles. They just don't for the division. Since Lavi was busted blood vessels and Briz was in outer space. The Flyers, they did do a Flyers Hard Knocks that one year for the Winter Classic, didn't they? That was when we got the humongous big, quote from Brigalov and the outer space, and wasn't Briz sitting at a table all by himself while the rest of the team was together? I remember that. But that's where we got the Lavi, the jam, and what was the other quote from Lavalette there? Got to have a little jam. Rip your heart out, rip your throat out. Something like that. I forgot all about that. The Giants died with either Wellington Mara or Tom Coughlin's tenure. It's interesting. The Tom Coughlin we were just talking about that. Me and I don't even remember who I was talking about that with. I was just talking about Tom Coughlin the other day and the Deshaun Jackson miracle at the Meadowlands and Tom Coughlin's face when he told the punter not to punt the D-Jacks, and he did anyway. And the look on Coughlin's face, and I was just talking about that, and it was just memories of that. They weren't great, but they won Super Bowls. They got to Super Bowls. It was a well-coached team. It was. But I just can't fathom. It'd be like, me live streaming the security cameras at the pizza shop for world to see me goofing off and see me, trash talking, my employees or hanging up the phone after I take a difficult customer's order. And then they hear me bitching about the customer to my wife or something like that. I just don't get the purpose of some of these conversations that are being leaked to the public through Hard Knocks. I know the point of Hard Knocks is to give the fans a behind the scenes of the team, of the inner workings of a team, of the inner workings of how to build a team and practice and whatnot. But they have obvious say and control on what they can cut and edit. The cameras aren't rolling all practice long, giving away their game plans. It's shocking how poorly run and how stupid it is. And it makes me want, look, talked about this with Daryl Morey. I've talked about, and the Sixers, I've talked about with the Phillies, trading prospects. And I talk about it with Howie Roseman, swinging for the fences. That's what the Saquon Barkley move is. It's a boom bust move. It's probably going to be a boom. We hope it's going to be a boom move, but it's not without massive risk because of the money committed and the history there. And honestly, Saquon Barkley did not want to come to Philly. He wanted to stay with the Giants. I truly believe that. I hope he didn't choose the Eagles just to stick it to the Giants. Well, I hope he did, because he's going to get to play them twice, not 3 times, because they won't make the playoffs. Swung for the fences. And I don't know why I brought that up, but the Giants, they're not only swinging for the fences, they look stupid out there. They do. You think the Eagles will ever get on Hard Knocks? I don't know. I'm sure at some point they could. I hope not, because isn't one of the rules is if you go to the Super Bowl, you're allowed to instantly say no to Hard Knocks? That might be the only way they don't. They're just in the Super Bowl every year, so they can't. Someone like Nick Sirianni and his flamboyant personality, and now that he's not an offensive coach or a defensive coach, he's just the coach. He might want more opportunities to show that big, bold personality. Hard Knocks and the NFL and HBO might want his personality for ratings to an extent. But I hope not, because that means they're going to the Super Bowl regularly if they're not on it. I want to know Lil G's niece's due date as much as I want to know Dombrowski's head right now. I love it. And we love Little G. Little G always shows support. Little G always shares, and Little G is always in the conversation. Barkley just asked for what he deserved, and the Giants, being stupid, said, no, we will pay the meh quarterback. That's on them. We have him now. Yeah. I think the bigger deal isn't that they wouldn't pay Barkley, because there is an argument to be made. And in the clip from last week, you saw one of the guys, maybe I was actually the GM, saying you can't pay a running back after 27 years old that kind of money. The theory of not paying Barkley is fine. It's how they went about doing it. It's how the GM was told by everybody, every scout and the owner, he is our entire offense. He is our identity, and that's why but they still chose not to pay him. It's him going on the phone to this guy, look, go test your market. You know what we'll pay you. If you get a better offer, just give us a chance to hear it out. But, in the phone conversation, he clearly says to Saquon, well, best of luck to you. He basically told Saquon, there's no way we're matching what you're going to get on the market. You have to take less if you want to stay here. And I think it was pretty bold and bad the way they went about, not just, the awkwardness of the conversation, but the way some of the things he said. Like, there's no chance. You watch that conversation, there's no chance the Giants are signing Saquon Barkley. None. Zero. Zip. None. The fewer distractions, the better. Let us win another Super Bowl. Then they can go, yeah, I want that Super Bowl. I want that World Series. I want that NBA championship. I want it all. I do. Much more than seeing my team on Hard Knocks. But you do know we'd all watch if they were on Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks just exposes dirty laundry, which showed kept behind the scenes to let things work out. But, Jose, you got to believe that the Giants have some form of cut that from the show. Maybe not everything, but you got to believe it. And you got to believe that the GM showing, again, can someone phonetically spell his name on the screen so I know if I'm saying it right or not? S-H-E-O-N, I think, or O-E-N, whatever. I don't care what the GM of the Giants' name is or pronounced anyway. You got to think they could cut something. And he knew that conversation wasn't going to go well. And whenever you put a conversation like that on speakerphone, you're trying to expose it. Yeah. I think he might have been dumb enough to think that conversation was going to make Saquon look bad. He probably thought that was going to make Saquon look like he didn't care about New York or the Giants. But he's so clueless, it made him look like the biggest bozo. He's looked like the biggest bozo in the world, period, over the last couple weeks. The Giants are really a case study on how not to run a team, starting and with focus on skilled positions. I think, Nooms, maybe you said something similar to this last week when we were talking about last week's clips that came up about them wanting to keep him and the GM saying no. 1,000% right, Nooms. You do not build skilled positions. You don't draft wide receivers. You don't give out big money contracts to quarterbacks. You go with the Eagles' philosophy. You build from the trenches and then out. You get a great offensive line. You get a young quarterback. You hope the quarterback develops. You always have a backup plan. Carson Wentz, to Jalen Hurts, et cetera, et cetera. You got great offensive line, great defensive line. Then you go out and you spend big money on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You go out there and spend big money on Saquon Barkley. I know we drafted Smith, but you get what I'm saying. We didn't draft Devontae Smith, but before we had some sort of an idea of what the depth of this team was, the base of this team, the core of this team. That's how you build a team, in or out, inside out. And the Giants aren't even building skilled players. The Giants have an awful offensive line. They got an awful quarterback. They lost their best skilled position, which was like 40% of their offense. Their wide receivers, they drafted a new kid this year. I forget his name in the first round. But they've already drafted first-round wide receivers in the last couple of years. And every single one of them has failed. It's pathetic. The Giants organization is run so poorly. And again, this is not a Giants show. This is more of an appreciation show on how great Howie Roseman does his job. We can criticize draft pick. We can criticize the Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson move. We can criticize that we only have 3 safeties on our team. Right? We can criticize the linebackers. But when all the nuts and bolts are on the table, we have a Super Bowl contending team right now with weaknesses. And it's great. Fantastic. Howie uses the same concepts on running back, but he knows when to step away from the ideology. Barkley puts butts on benches, and people will literally buy tickets to watch him run now with a better O-line. Yeah, I don't think where I think the Sixers make decisions based off of ticket sales and advertising sales as a top priority. I think Barkley will put butts in the seats to an extent, the jersey sales, etc. But I don't think Howie, I think the financial aspect of it, the return on the investment financially, not wins and losses and titles. I think the financial aspect of it is very low on the Eagles. The Eagles know they're going to make money no matter what. But I think it's a little bit less important on the Saquon Barkley and the Eagles aspect of it. But the Giants, on the other hand, are going to lose a lot of money, ticket sales, jersey sales, the ancillary stuff, because Barkley ain't there anymore. I hope we never find out what the team would look like without Stout. That guy can't be paid enough. Jeff Stoutland. I mean, I've already said it, and it's like a question, but it's like an open-ended question I've never bothered to research. Has a assistant coach, like an offensive line coach or a running back, a guy that's never been a coordinator or a head coach anywhere, ever been put in the Hall of Fame? Because Jeff Stoutland should be. What he has been able to do with Lane Johnson, Lane Johnson had the pedigree. Jason Kelce was a 6th-round pick. Jordan Mailata out of left field. More out of left field than an RKO out of nowhere. What he's done, you lose Vaitai, replaced. You'll lose Brandon Brooks, instantly replaced. You'll lose a guy that, it's like the next man up routine. He's always got the next man up ready to roll. Darth Pooh. I love the name. I love it. My childish humor loves that name there. Darth Pooh. I love it. No idea why another GM would pick up the phone with Howie on the other line. Yeah. Honestly, I've said it before. Now, again, Daryl Morey has earned a 5-minute reprieve for my criticism because he's doing good. He's got more work to do. But, going into the offseason, I was saying I wanted Howie Roseman to drive over to Camden and pick up the phone and take over the phone calls for Daryl Morey. I think Howie Roseman's smart enough and sees the big picture enough where he could succeed in any sport. He might have to learn how to handle the salary cap in the NBA, but outside of that, he sees the big picture. Barkley thought he was an all-time Giants player. I just saw a top 100, and they just released, and he's number 96. What? Saquon Barkley is the 96th greatest Giant of all time. I mean, the Giants do have a pretty long storied history. They've got Super Bowl victories, multiple in their lifetime. But you got to think Saquon. I mean, what was he there for? 6 years, 5 years? Probably the greatest running back there, one of the greatest running backs. I don't know my Giants history really well. I can name a couple quarterbacks and stuff, but I don't know. That's a tough one. That maybe the GM wrote the list, and he just did that to remind everybody. That's why we didn't sign Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I mean, we could talk Sixers, and we could talk NBA, and we could talk Olympic basketball today. Embiid embarrassed himself last night. He can't play within a system that doesn't feature him scoring 40. Now, there's two angles you could take on Team USA, Barbara. Angle one, that we know Joel Embiid takes 8-10 days to ramp up, 8-10 games to ramp up into game shape. He hasn't played in a couple of months. He's not in great game shape. That. Option two that you can look at is the way you are, that we were hoping that him playing with stars and not being the focal point would teach him something new. But instead, proving that he can't do something new. There's those two different angles you could take at. I like to think and hope it was just the ramp up and he's not used to not being the focal point, that come 2 weeks from now in the Olympics, he'll be in better shape. Uriah Young, from Now and Then, the NBA Now and Then podcast, will be back on next week to talk Team USA, to talk Joel Embiid and talk the Olympics. Let's hope by next week they got another game, I forget, against who in a couple days. Let's hope he continues to get better. Olympic basketball, international play is a totally different ballgame. Different style of refereeing, different style of game. We'll see if Joel Embiid can adjust. So many Team USA fans out there are crushing him and want him out off the team instantly. It's crazy. Kawhi Leonard left the team. There's a video of him in a strip club in Vegas, like literally 2 hours after he left the team, whatever. But there's people that want Joel Embiid off the team already. Things change pretty quickly in this league. Howie does pivot and can recognize a mistake and wring value out of it. Would be nice if we could get things right the first time more often, though. Yeah, Howie's not afraid to swing for the fences. Howie Roseman, though, also knows how to get over the mistakes. And I think that's pretty critical and pretty crucial when he could say and recognize a mistake and move on. And he wasn't always capable of doing that. I mean, he held on to Jalen Reagor too long. He held on to J.J. Ortega-Whiteside, too long. But he recognized the Carson Wentz mistake, moved on from it. Took the $60 million cap hit for the dead money. Still found a way to get the team to the playoffs in 2021. Hal doesn't cheat other teams. He's a good horse trader and gives mostly fair trades. That's why they pick up the phone. Yes, he's persistent, but the other teams get what they... Yeah, I can get behind this stuff. I can get behind this philosophy and feeling that how he does, maybe in the end, we think he wins most of these trades, but maybe like we all say, oh, we dominated the Saints when we traded for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson a couple of years ago. Well, who did that draft pick turn into? Did he turn into somebody good? We're not looking back on the follow-ups. We always follow up on NBA trades 5 years later. We don't follow up on NFL trades 5 years later. We follow up on the baseball trades and how these prospects don't work out. So, yes, go trade those prospects right frickin' now. If I'm Dave Dombrowski, and this is going to throw the Phillies into it, everybody's talked about Lewis Roberts as an outfielder candidate. He's under team control for a couple of years. But they also forget that the White Sox might trade Garrett Crochet, starting pitcher as well, also under control for a few more years. You go out and get Roberts and a starting pitcher. Don't forget, Zach Wheeler has a back issue, and now he's claimed it's been bothering him since mid-late June. They said his MRI was negative. Nothing showed up. But a back issue is scary. Look what a back issue did with what it did to Anthony Melton this season with the Sixers. Zach Wheeler better not pitch in the All-Star game. If I'm the Phillies, I know we need wins at the end of this before the break. I'm sitting him in his next start. I'm making him sit out the All-Star break. You're basically going to give him 2 weeks off, reset the rotation so he's like the fourth or fifth guy after the All-Star break. Give him a good 2 weeks to rest that back, but go out and get a starting pitcher because you need a fifth starter. Zach Wheeler needs 2 weeks off. I wouldn't mind giving Sanchez a week or two off this year, skip a start or two. I wouldn't mind letting Ranger, who I've heard rumors of a dead arm, skip a start or two. Go get a starting pitcher that could start 100 times better than Taijuan Walker or Spencer Turnbull, and then he can also give some of these guys some breaks. That would be me. If they want Adem Miller for Lewis Roberts and Crochet, done. Sign the check or sign the contract. Done. Official. Make the phone call to the league official office and get the trade done. Howie Roseman wouldn't be afraid to do it. Barkley will prove behind this offensive line why he's a top 3 running back in this league. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm still debating. I saw my man Shane Half, predict only 1,100 yards for Saquon next year, a couple hundred receiving yards. I've seen some other names predict like close to 2,000 combined receiving and rushing yards for him. And I'm not sure where I fall because the Eagles will try to protect him in the usage rate to an extent. We've seen them. They like to mix in Kenny Gainwell. If he makes the team, they're going to, they've got some young guys. We'll see. Shipley, whatnot. We'll see what kind of usage he gets. How much he takes away from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith still is a question mark. I mean, DeAndre Swift was great last year. Had just over 1,000 yards. But you had 27 yards, 100 receiving from two wide receivers. They're going to need their touches. So I'm curious. So I don't know if he'll get into CMC yardage, but success rate, if there's an offensive success rate stat, he would be right up there with CMC per touch that he gets to the ball. I'm back out on the Sixers, not serious enough. Dwight Powell clamped him. He also gave Dwight Powell the little shimmy elbow to the face. Yeah, the Sixers are frustrating. They are. Or Joel Embiid is. Oh my God, the referees didn't let Embiid get away with his ways. Those international refs definitely are not. Joel shows me he not serious, maybe, or he's just not ready to play. Yeah, he was playing on a bad knee, and he only had like 2 months to recoup it or recover from it. Kawhi's Predator left in the strip club, dude. It was hilarious, Eric. I'm sure you saw the video, him getting that little lap dance. Howie always goes for it. He is the best GM in the Philly. John, I can't disagree with you. One iota. Wheeler is 34. Back will flare from now. Dude, I'm 43. My black flares up all the freaking time. But I'm not trying to throw 98-mile-an-hour fastballs and win a World Series. Harper should stay out, too. Yeah, Harper missed the game yesterday. And he guess he banged his hand. He has a bruise on his hand from fielding a play at first base. His first game back. It's sore. I hope it's not a big deal. They say it's not a big deal. We'll see. I agree. Lewis Jr. and Crooked. Yeah, go get him. Done. Adem Miller, Mick Abel. Done deal. The White Sox would take that like that. A young upcoming pitcher and a young upcoming infielder to build around. Done. They say it. We say it. We win the World Series. Done. Won't look back at all. Same as Bryce, JT, and Kyle. Back pain is expected. These flare-ups will all happen to 30. Well, I know they happen to 40-year-old guys. So, yeah, they happen. I hope that's all it is. Let's hope it's not something more like the DeAnthony Melton situation this year, which kept him out most of the year. Hold on. My ad reads. They were off to the side. Forgot about them. So I got to get them closer so I don't forget. Even though I know these things like the back of my hand and I wing it anyway. Got to have them there just in case. Good to see James Harden establishing the Clippers culture. Yeah. Wheeler is not needed to start against Oakland, that's for sure. Exactly. Give him. I've been saying that. I've been thinking this. I haven't brought it up on a show just yet, but we should try to work in like load maintenance, like we do for the Joel Embiid with our starters this year. We've got a big enough lead in the division. We got a big enough lead from the number 1 seat that we could risk 2 weeks and no Wheeler. You skip his next start. You make him sit out the All-Star break, and you push his first All-Star break post. Like you rearrange the rotation, and everyone's going to have days off, and you have him not start till next. Well, he started yesterday. What's today? Today's Thursday, so he started Wednesday. You can hold him off till Monday or Tuesday after the All-Star break. Almost 2 full weeks off. That's good for the back. Saying that, Phil Lewis Jr. and Crochet, go for it and then get a closer. Alvarado, I want to talk Phillies pitchers and relievers because last night you saw Matt Strahm, Orion Kirkring, and Jeff Hoffman straight dominate. Jose Alvarado, I've been saying it all along, cannot be trusted as a closer. He's great when he's great, but when he's off, he's Mitch Williams wild. And I like him better in that high leverage situation. You need a big strikeout with 2 outs, the end of the inning, that's when you pull him in there. Whoa. Are we still live? Are we still live here? Okay, it was just my lights. Doesn't look like my internet went out. I think I might be haunted. Am I haunted? You guys all saw the lights go out, right? The power didn't go out on the laptop, but that's because the battery's charged. You all saw that, right? The lights went out. This show, it's probably that guy whose name I won't say that can't keep his name out of my mouth. He's probably got like some kind of like device outside. He's trying to shut me up. Definitely Darth Pooh is using the power of the dark side to kill the lights. That's what he's doing. I got to catch up on comments, but yeah, I pay my bills. I do not have smart lights. I don't have anything smart in my house. I have a smart TV, but that's it. I don't believe in one thing control. I don't know what happened. Maybe my wife was flickering the lights to kind of tell me, like, you know, when teachers back in elementary school, you get too rowdy in the class, they would take the light switch and they would flicker the switches. That was your cue. It's time to get quiet. The teacher's getting serious. That's probably what was going on there. Wife's probably saying I'm being too loud. Guys, real quick before we get back to the comments, because there's a lot of comments now because of that little light flickering thing I missed. It's a good time to pause, reset, and talk about SherryTickets.com. They are the premier ticket place with no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. If you go to SherryTickets.com, get sports tickets, concert tickets, theater tickets. You use promo code EOP10 and you save 10%. It's the best place to go. The price you see is the price you pay if you need a personal touch. You can call them 610-494-5050. Just let them know EOP10 and Train the AM is where you heard about them. They are the best. Why would you pay more with the rest instead of saving with the best? SherryTickets.com. And, of course, PhillySportsTrips.com. Go to their website, sign up, and check out all their great packages. They are the premium travel and tailgate experience sports company there is. They do it all. Trip to Brazil to see the Eagles take on the Green Bay Packers week 1 of the NFL season. They got great tailgate things like Italian Heritage Night at the Citizens Bank Park. Might be too late to book the Pirates thing in next week, but maybe I'll take that off the rotation. Spring training deposits for your World Series champion Phillies. They're already taking those. If you want to see the awful Philadelphia Union, you can go to Miami for a minute, but also all our other great Birds takeovers. Tampa, Baltimore, Dallas, just to name a few. PhillySportsTrips.com. Make sure you sign up and make sure you let them know EOP, Train the AM, sent you. We got lots of comments. Lots of comments to catch up on because the lights flickering really did me some damage there and threw me off. So let me see where we're at here. I already read that one, yes. Go for it. Go all in. You missed the show the other day, John. All in. Even though some people thought I was copying someone else's show. All in. That's what I am on the Phillies. Harper needs the All-Star spotlight to feed his ego. Here we go. He did say he will play. If he doesn't play Saturday and Sunday, which is needed for him to be eligible to be in the All-Star game. I'm sorry. He has to play Saturday and Sunday to be eligible for the All-Star game? Explain that one. I'm not sure about that one. I never heard of that. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I got a lot of comments saying we were fine. These are old. You had a brownout. Is that what it is? I don't know what it is. But the internet didn't go out, and the power didn't go out. Just the lights flickered. That's weird. Yes, I pay my bills regularly. Well, I actually don't pay my bills. My wife does. Phillies, at the very least, need to get 2 platoon bats because you cannot go into the playoffs with Rojas and Merrifield. Nope. Done. They shouldn't even be on the team. They shouldn't. They need to be traded. They need to be sent down, traded, cut, whatever. You need an outfield bat really bad. Everyone heard him say it. There's not a smart thing in his house. Drop the microphone on that one right there. Are you bashing to Giants to talking yourself into Barkley signing? I'm confused. I don't know if you don't watch every day, but I've very, very openly said that the signing of Saquon Barkley is a very boom bust decision. It could put us over the top, bring us back to the Super Bowl. It could be a wash. It could be bad. It could be a waste of money. He could get injured, whatever. But I don't ever fault a general manager for when the window's open, when you're on the cusp of a championship opportunity, you swing for the fences. You do. And that's what he did. And I love it. Well, we appreciate that, Adam, very, very much now. The lights was all the haters being jealous, trying to shut you down. There's a lot of people trying to shut me down, Adam. But they ain't going to shut me down. This will never stop unless I decide to make it stop. Well, there is no Jalen Hurts backup plan. There's fine on that. But you don't need a backup plan other than when he gets hurt. And he might miss a game or two every year. And I know you're not a Jalen Hurts truther, but I am. So I don't want to get into a Jalen Hurts hate conversation today. But I did yesterday on social media. People trying to bash Jalen Hurts. And I got to remind everybody, front runner for MVP last year through 12 weeks. And it wasn't just Jalen Hurts that failed the last 6 games of the season. All the coaches failed last season. The offensive line failed. The secondary failed. The defense couldn't stop a nosebleed, to use a cheesy cliche joke. Last year's Eagles collapse wasn't solely on Jalen Hurts. Did he have some bad games on those 5 and 6? Yes. Did he turn the ball over too much? Yes. But it was a complete and total team failure. They've made the changes. They've made the adjustments. Now we go into the season with the expectations and hope that they turn it around. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to just get rid of Rojas, because facts are, if he learns to be more than a tap hitter, he can be very valuable. I just want him to get a good amount of time in AAA. Look, I agree. He should be in AAA still. Should never brought him back up when we had the opportunity to. He was hitting really well in AAA in his little minute that he went back down earlier this year, Elephant. I think he had a close to 400 batting average in those 2 weeks down in the minors. But you also got Justin Crawford as the future center fielder, in my opinion, of this team. And you can't have 2 speedsters that hit for average and you're out. You need your corner outfielder is supposed to be your power guys. He's never going to hit for power. I don't think Justin Crawford will. Maybe he'll develop a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's too soon to tell on Crawford. But I'm not looking to trade. I would trade Rojas in the right package. Maybe another team sees the potential there. Maybe the White Sox in a package for Roberts and Croquet, whatever his name is. Maybe they see Rojas and be like a young outfielder to start the rebuild process there with some minor league kids. In that, maybe that puts a trade package for both those guys over the top. Maybe that's the thing. But outside of that, no. You send him to the minors, you let him get work, but he cannot be starting in the playoffs. No ifs, ands, or buts. He cannot be starting in the playoffs. If you're serious about winning a World Series, he should not even be on the playoff roster. Well, at least Rojas and Pache both shouldn't be on the playoff roster. You need one for a defensive replacement in the 9th inning. That's fine. You need a pinch runner. That's fine. But outside of that, both those guys should not be on the roster come the World Series. Exactly, Adam. Everybody, look, and I got into this on Twitter yesterday, Adam, about the Eagles. In 2022, the Eagles made the Super Bowl. In 2022, Jalen Hurts probably had the greatest losing effort in a Super Bowl. Still a losing effort. Yes, I get that. His turnover at the end of before halftime, started the turnaround to put the Chiefs back in control of that game. Okay? Throw that out there. But in 2022, we make it to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts had nothing to do with the success. It was the fact that he had a great team around him. In 2023, we didn't have as great a success. all the blame goes on Jalen Hurts. Can someone explain to me why so many anti-Jalen Hurts out there, people, want to take all the credit away from him for the team's success in 2022, but give him none of the blame? Give him no blame, or give him none of the. I'm losing it on this one. Give Jalen Hurts none of the credit for 2022, but give him all the blame for 2023. It doesn't make sense to me. MLB says you must play the days before the All-Star game. That stops players from just sitting out. Okay, I did not know that, Barbara. That one definitely something I missed, and thanks for the heads up on that. He did say he still played in the All-Star game, so to me that tells me then if that's the rule, then he will play this weekend. That's interesting. Does that mean if they sit Zach Wheeler on Saturday that he can't start playing the All-Star? I mean, they're sitting him because of his back. He should play in the All-Star game anyway, but that's another thing. If the whole team quit last year, what makes you think they don't quit this year? It's basically the same team. Right. And you went out and you got new coaches. You got Kellen Moore. You got Vic Fangio. All the talk all offseason is about working on discipline, on working on the fundamentals, on working on the finer details. You got to think, unless you hate Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni and every assistant coach under them, you got to think that there's a chip on their shoulder, and these coaches are going to have these guys. It's different philosophies, different voices. Look, if you can't blame a little bit of Brian Johnson for the problems, if you can't blame Sean Desai and Matt Patricia for some of the problems, I don't know what to tell you. The secondary was atrocious. You went out and drafted Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean to fix it. So you got to think that the new voices leading these meetings are going to push these guys a little harder. Vic Fangio is not a first-time coordinator. Vic Fangio has been coaching for, God, probably since before I was born. And I'm old. There's going to be something there. And I talked about it, if you remember, Maddie, on this show last year, that my biggest concern was the fact that we had two very young, inexperienced, one first-time coordinator. And what was I said on this show, when the going gets tough, will they look at Brian Johnson? Will they look at Sean Desai and be like, what comes out of those guys' mouths will calm us down and get us right on track? Will they have that onus in their voice when they speak? Obviously not. We got to hope Kellen Moore. We got to hope Vic Fangio's voice rings truer. He got paid, and the second he got that big target on his back after that, it allows people to continue the narrative on him not being good enough. He's fallen back into good situations. I get it. I just think it's wrong. I understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, the Jalen Hurts haters. That's what they are. They're haters. You know, you could say you might not think he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, but anybody that doesn't think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now, when you see what's on out there as a quarterback, you're just a hater. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I get why he's got the target on his back, but to me, it doesn't make sense why you could give him zero credit for success, but all the blame for failure. I blame the lack of culture, the lack of leadership, and the bad personnel moves by your GM. Oh, are you not an Eagles fan then? It's not your GM? It's not all of our GM? It's just my GM? So I know you don't like Howie Roseman. And yes, the lack of moves at linebacker. You know, we're old school. We remember the days of Byron Evans, Seth Joyner, and stuff like that when linebacker was valued. But honestly, if you think big picture, if you look at free agency this year, linebackers are turning into new running backs. They're just not valued as much. And I do have concerns now with Nick Sirianni and the culture and his leadership. I'm hoping that Fangio and Kellen Moore can take some of the pressure off him and help get this team back on track. I'm hoping the culture's changed. I do. I did say I don't like the idea of him being on a short leash, Nick Sirianni, and only getting a 6-game window, then you got to fire him if he's not doing well. If that was the case, you should have just fired him to start the offseason and moved on. Could have just hired Kellen Moore as your head coach. Let him run the offense and the whole team. But since he's here, you might as well keep him for the whole year. I hate mid-season coaching changes. I really do. At least in football. The worst corners we've ever had in Philly. Well, I mean, maybe not, but they're up there. At least lately. Why am I drawing a blank on what's his name? The offensive line coach that became a defensive coordinator. That might have been the worst coordinator job of all time. Is Jalen Hurts better than McNabb already in his career? No. Donovan McNabb got to, 5 NFC championship games and 1 Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has been to 1. Jalen Hurts has only had 3 years. 3 years as a starter. I think when all is said and done, Jalen Hurts will be higher than McNabb. I think the better question is Carson Wentz or Nick Foles ahead of McNabb in Eagles history. Maybe. They got us a Super Bowl. I have no doubt in my mind we will hit the ground running and strike fear across the NFL for 10 to 12 straight weeks. I hope so. The tougher part of the schedule, in my opinion, is the beginning of the schedule instead of the latter part of the schedule. I agree with you. These are just haters. They're just haters. They just want to hate Hurts just to hate Hurts. The thing that annoys me most about content creators, about media members, about guys that put lists together on ESPN or the radio or wherever, none of them are willing to admit they're wrong. Duck, you've been following me for a while. So Eric has been. People in the comments, Adam knows me. I'm never afraid to admit I am wrong. It's not that big of a deal. We're just making guesses on what we think is going to happen or what a player is going to be like. Why is it so hard for media people to say, yeah, I said Jalen Hurts stunk. I was wrong. Why is it so hard for them to do that? I don't know. Maybe it's hard for them to admit they're wrong because they don't have a good lawyer to back them up. And you know who's a good lawyer? David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm. State of Pennsylvania, workers' compensation law, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law. Call the best. David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm. You can get a hold of him at 610-565-0300. Call cherryinjurylaw.com. Just make sure when you call, you say, I heard about you on EOP. I heard about you on Trending in the AM. And I need the best. And he will be the best. He will fight for you and get you what you deserve. Again, his number, David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm, is 610-565-0300. Or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. I think I gave a good segue right there. I think that was a good one right there. That's why these media members can't admit they were wrong. If one thinks that the Eagles aren't chomping at the bits and have a big chip on their shoulders, are sadly mistaken. Yeah, there's a lot of pride on this Eagles team. A lot of people that got to prove the doubt is wrong. And, the hungry dog mentality, the chip on the shoulder. You know what? If that's what you got to do, go for it. Their confidence will return. I hope the confidence will return. I really, truly do. The Phillies will probably request that Wheeler not pitch in the All-Star game. I hope so. Give Cristopher Sanchez his slot. That would be my hope. He deserves the nomination or the opportunity. Cristopher Sanchez against a depleted but still very good Dodgers lineup last night. Pitched very well. Was not scared of the big playoff atmosphere at the bank. Not scared to face Shohei Ohtani. Jalen couldn't get McNabb's water. I think when all said and done, he will be higher than McNabb on the list. Not yet. It's only been 3 years. You can't compare. What was McNabb here for 10, 12 years? You can't compare 10, 12 years of success and failures to 3 years of success and failure. Juan Castillo, what? I feel like I let you down by not knowing Juan Castillo's name. I do. I really do. They take it personal that Hurts and the Eagles destroy all their hot takes. So just say that. I was wrong. I was wrong on Carson Wentz. Adam knows my beginning early era of podcasting and tweeting. Hashtag Wentz is elite. Going in 2020, I had Wentz as the 4th best quarterback in the NFL. We know how that all worked out. And guess what? I stood in behind a microphone, not this one specifically, in a different room and said I was wrong on Carson Wentz. It's okay to be wrong. We're just guessing here. Our opinions are just guesses. And people are afraid to admit when they're wrong. Don McNabb had the best touchdown celebrations. Remember the Michael Jackson kick? Yes, I do. I do. And wasn't he the one that did Thriller? He did the Michael Jackson kick, and then he did the. I think that's Thriller, right? The Eagles dominate the Cowboys during the McNabb era. Yeah. How? He's had one good year this so far. Donovan McNabb's had one good year. See, this is what I don't get. Jalen Hurts has had one good year, one amazing year, and one really good year. 2021 was a good year. First time as a starter, takes a team that's got $60 million in dead cap to the playoffs. Yes, got smoked by Brady and the Buccaneers in the playoffs, but took them to the playoffs with pretty much no experience. Year 2, takes the team to the goddamn Super Bowl. That's pretty great, not good. Year 3, has a 10-1 team, front runner for MVP, that collapsed. So very good year. Can't say he's had one good year. Good is like a C+. That's 2021. 2022 was A+. A. We'll just say A because he lost in the Super Bowl. 2023 was like a B-, B. I bet the Phillies will push for Nola on his replacement. They probably will. And Nola is very deserving of an All-Star Game nomination as well. For sure. And there's going to be other people that drop out as well. Aaron Nola definitely deserves it. I'd like to see Cristopher Sanchez, just like Matt Strom and Jeff Hoffman, have gotten that little nod to them. I would like Cristopher Sanchez to get that nod as well. But we'll see. I was wrong on Wentz and Howie. I was wrong on Howie. Hey, I used to do the hashtag Fire Howie thing all the time. Howie evolved. So did I. Phil was big on Wentz, just like everyone else was. Not everybody was, but I was way over the top. Mediocre, good, kind of the same. So I'm sorry, but you're calling 2021 mediocre, not good. And you're calling 2023 getting your team to the Super Bowl just good is insane, first off. You're calling 2021 mediocre. A lot of teams around the NFL would have loved to have his 2021 success. Getting your team with $60 million, I think it was like 30% of your cap space locked up in a cut Carson Wentz or traded Carson Wentz. A lot of teams would have taken that. Did the best they could with what they had. And he was good. Mediocre, good are kind of the same thing. Wentz had everybody fooled with his feeding people act, which quickly came to an end, I noticed. What? Feeding people? Give McNabb the same weapons. Yeah, dude. You're talking with one of the biggest Donovan McNabb fans there is out there. I always will, well, as the player, not the post-career of Donovan McNabb, who became a little D-bag, little tool. But yeah, Donovan obviously didn't have great weapons. And the one year he got one weapon in TO, he got to the Super Bowl. Go figure. You give Donovan McNabb Devontae Smith and you give Donovan McNabb A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley, maybe we would have won a Super Bowl, maybe not. Oh, my God. We got spammers in the comment. I should have noticed the comment that long. John, don't click those links. I clicked it and put it on the screen stupidly. Don't click those links. Do people really click stupid troll links like that? Or send friend requests to people? Like, I get them. You think that being on Twitter with all the changes and all the privacy added to Twitter, that I wouldn't be able to get 47 DMs, click this link to meet hot girls in your neighborhood. Like, you would think that stuff would be stopped by now. But do people actually fall for that shit? Like, it's insane. McNabb and Hurts do have the same weapon, Terrell Owens and A.J. Brown. Terrell Owens and A.J. Owens? Okay. And the one year McNabb had it, they got to a Super Bowl. A.J. Brown got us to a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. But Donovan McNabb didn't have it his whole entire career. Howie Roseman's best decision was letting the football experts find the players. He's a great businessman, but doesn't really know football talent. I begin to slightly disagree with. I thought this years ago, but Howie's now been in football for 20 years. He's been helping make decisions on players for 20 years now, maybe longer. I like to think that Howie knows a little bit about football players now. I think he has more say in the players chosen than you realize, Mista. But I get what you're saying there. I do. What I don't understand why they didn't double down, pay T.O., a mil bonus or re-sign and get another really good wide receiver. Yeah. Hindsight's 2020. Dumb me when in 2005, and he's out there doing sit-ups in his driveway, and I'm freaking out, and I'm pissed off at T.O. Big picture, T.O. was probably right. Big picture, wide receivers are divas to begin with. They should have paid him. They should have. They didn't. It was a problem. It's probably would not paying T.O. when he wanted to get paid be one of the biggest mistakes in Eagles history. I'm going to write that down. T.O. biggest mistakes. I'm writing that down in my notes here. Got to put together a list of the biggest mistakes in Eagles history. Would that be a bigger mistake than letting Reggie White walk? Probably not, but maybe. I don't think Reggie wanted to stay here. It's another topic I could get into. The history of the Eagles quarterback is the Super Bowl is not good. Jaworski, McNabb, and then Hurts what he did. Yeah, look, I'm the biggest Jalen Hurts supporter. But I'm not, lying to myself and saying that his big fumble before halftime at the end of the first half of the Super Bowl wasn't a critical moment and turning point of the game, which actually the false start, the play before that, put them in the position for him to fumble. That's another story. But his fumble was a big mistake in a season where he made minimal mistakes. Made a big mistake in a crucial moment that swayed the tides and gave the Chiefs hope. And then the rest is history because they have one of the best quarterbacks of all time and one of the best coaches of all time. You give the best an ounce, they're going to turn it around. McNabb with this team wins Super Bowls and gets a $200 million contract with Campbell Soup. That's what I want in a GM. Someone who knows a little bit about the football players. Yeah, I think people discount Howie Roseman's knowledge of football players. Yes, he does rely on his scouts probably. Not always. We all remember the video from the War Room when he drafted Milton Williams and Donaghy or whatever his name was. Didn't like the idea. And Milton Williams has turned into a pretty damn solid player that's due to get a big extension here soon. Would be shocked if by camp he doesn't get an extension. When McNabb had Owens, it was better than anything Jalen has given us with an absolutely stacked offense. What? Jalen Hurts has been a borderline MVP for the last 2 seasons. Tom McNabb, I don't know where he ranked in the MVP voting, but he never was. See, again, this is what we get back to. They're not willing to admit that you're wrong. You're a hater, elephant in the room on Jalen Hurts. You want to give him all the blame, but none of the success. It drives me nuts, and I'm sorry. And your opinion matters, and I appreciate your thoughts, and I appreciate you commenting. But you're giving Jalen Hurts none of the credit for this team's success. And to me, that bothers me. It really does. Howie post-equipment closet is better at player eval and listening to coaches and scouts. Exactly. He's not letting himself get banished again for some college coach, some college bozo. I don't remember the food trucks. I really don't. I know he's done a lot of charity thing. He's got his A01. Is that what it's called? A10 charity. I didn't know about his food trucks, though. I don't remember that at all. Not paying T.O. would have kept his stupid butt out of Dallas. No Reggie White lost is bigger. I'm going to put – I got to work on this. I'm going to take fans' opinions on this, but where the T.O. decision ranks in the biggest mistakes in Eagles history. I can't put the Carson Wentz mistake contract that high because they got out of it quickly and they still managed to make the playoffs and a Super Bowl 2 years later. The Donovan, the T.O. one, the Reggie White one, they got to be up there as some of the big ones. Your opinion doesn't matter when you go against the Green Papa Granda. Oh, is that what it is? I admit but see, the thing is, like there's your opinions don't matter when you're not willing to see both sides of the story. Me, I see some of the negatives that Jalen Hurts has. I just think his positives outweigh his negatives massively right now. And the haters are the ones that aren't allowed, not willing themselves to see a glimmer of hope in Jalen Hurts. There's people out there that just say, get rid of Hurts and start over. Do you look around the NFL at the other quarterback play around the NFL? It's atrocious. It really is. Look, I probably still have it here. Look at the quarterbacks that are in this NFL. There's a lot of shit playing quarterback in the NFL. Grass ain't always greener, guys. It's not. I got your back. His A1 truck, he wasn't feeding the homeless. He wasn't. I know he has his charity. I didn't know his food trucks. Must have missed that. What's up, Jason? How you doing? McNabb had Owens one season with Stinkston. Yeah, Stinkston blocked me. I made a joke, and I called him Todd Stinkston. He wasn't even in the thread. He saw it, blocked me. One season, and they almost won the chip. The present team is loaded for a third season. Better coaches on those Reed teams, especially Jim Johnson on D. Yeah, this might be the first time since then. Not the same style of defensive coordinator as Jim Johnson, and Vic Fangio, but this might be the first time we've had a respected, big coordinator name that has no intentions of being a head coach anymore. So that's a good thing. There. He was just feeding fans as PR most of the time. He used it for his evangelism. Yeah. Look, he's a religious guy. It is what it is. It's, I always felt that Carson Wentz would retire and become a pastor or take like the Tim Tebow route post-playing career to an extent. And that's all good for him, if that's what he's into, great. Fine by me. Good for him. But I just don't remember the food trucks. And I feel stupid not remembering them. I'm glad you remembered that. Yeah, I don't remember them. Sorry. And you're looking for a glimmer of hope. I'm not looking for a glimmer of hope. I don't need a glimmer of hope. You need a glimmer of hope. Me, I have 110% confidence in Jalen Hurts. I have 110% confidence that Jalen Hurts is the man to lead this franchise for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 years. I have no doubt about Jalen Hurts. You need a glimmer of hope. Elephant in the room needs a glimmer of hope. Not me. Who isn't looking at both sides? Everybody isn't looking. There are a lot of haters that don't have a glimmer of hope. That just refuse. They keep doubling down, tripling down that Jalen Hurts sucks. And don't say I'm wrong. Why would you want to give up on Hurts when he has been playing at a really high level? I know. Because you want to give him the blame for last year's collapse, but give him none of the credit for the team. It's all the surrounding ancillary pieces that got us to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts had nothing to do with us getting to the Super Bowl. Had nothing to do with the ancillary parts of our collapse. All the collapse was on Jalen Hurts. Drives me freaking up a wall. This is another one. Huge. This is the first time he's learning a completely new offense, too. What did he say? 95% of the offense is new to him? The quarterback position is terrible these days, but I'm not going to prop a guy up because of that fact, because I can still look back and see what great quarterback play is, and that's not what we see on Sundays. We play a lot on Mondays and Thursdays, and we got a game on Friday this year, so we don't always play on Sundays. But come on. You're just not willing to admit that there might be a chance that Jalen Hurts is him. Offense isn't even a pro approach offense. It's a gimmicky college angle. It works. It's gotten us to the playoffs 3 years. It's gotten us to a Super Bowl. Literally every offense is a gimmick. The West Coast offense is a gimmick. Every style, everything's a gimmick, really. That might be stupid. I don't know why I just said that. And you can teach that. There you go. Thanks, Big Cass. Thanks, Enzo. You're Enzo. I'm Big Cass, or am I Enzo and you're Big Cass? I don't know which one is which there. In that final sponsor of the day, of course, is our great friends over at Dolan's Bar. I love to have a beer at Dolan's Bar with Matty B and just argue. And if we had enough beers, we'd probably throw down at Nolan's Bar. 65 plus years, they've been the quintessential Irish American dive bar in Delaware County. Make sure you check them out at dolansbar.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all social medias. If you go on in there for great food, great times, great drinks, tell PJ and the crew. Edge of Philly Sports, trending in the AM is where you heard about them. Guys, Dolan's Bar, don't forget about them. If you're out and about this weekend, you're anywhere near Ridley Park, go out and check them out again. Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, dolansbar.com, and on all social media platforms. And guys, you're watching Trade in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports, 7-day-a-week program. Let's say Thursday. So you got Football Stories Live. You got Fly Like an Eagle podcast with Mitchie Poo. You got the Attacking Third, and you got post-game Phillies-Dodgers Game 3 tonight. 7-day-a-week program this week, over 35 shows on the channel this week, guys. Got to stay locked and loaded. Got to stay locked and loaded on the best channel there is in the area. Yeah. Don't click anything Lisa says. It gave us one of the most historic collapses in our history as well. It gave us some of the greatest success. And but again, why are you blaming Jalen Hurts for the failure? Only the coaches, the players around him. You give Jalen Hurts all the blame, but none of the credit. And that, to me, is wrong. Joe Banner was a cheapskate. No way Owens was getting paid. Banner doesn't even tip Hooters. Yeah. He was a cheapskate. But still, it was still one of the biggest mistakes in Eagles history. Top 3, maybe? Reggie White, T.O., 1-2. I'm still kind of leaning towards T.O. I really think Reggie White really wanted out of here. I don't think even if they were willing to pay him, I don't know. Am I crazy that everybody props Reggie White up on this thing as one of the greatest Eagles of all time, and that's fine? That I consider him a Green Bay Packer, not a Philadelphia Eagle. When I think Reggie White, I think of that fact that we had him, we let him go, and that he had his most success in the longest portion of his career, or his best part of his career. He's in the Hall of Fame because of Green Bay. I mean, he had a great time here in Philly as well, don't get me wrong. But when I think of Reggie White's name, I think of Green Bay Packers first. My name is Enzo Amore, and I'm a bona fide stud and a certified G, and you can't teach that. Was there a hotter tag team for a stretch than Enzo and Big Cass? And the fact that they didn't get rocket ships strapped to them and titles put on them and whatnot, man, just goes to show sometimes, no matter how over you are, you can't succeed in the business. It's not all on him, but he's not absolved from it. Oh, he's not absolved to it. And I've criticized him, Jalen Hurts, for his failures and his struggles last year at the end of the season. But to say he's not a good quarterback, or to discount what he did in 21, 22, and the first half and change of 2023, and say because of the last 6 weeks of the season, got to get rid of the guy. The guy's terrible. The guy don't deserve this. The guy doesn't deserve praise. This, that, and third. He's mediocre. Is ridiculous. Probably why Hooters is closing a bunch of franchises. I can't tell you the last time I was in a Hooters. What's up with Barkley? What's up with him? What's up with you, Mad Chatter? You're back. The new name again. You're back. Got to go watch the clips on social media of the Giants GM talking to Barkley on the phone. Reggie White is an Eagle forever. Get that package. I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I lived during. I'm 43. I watched Reggie White play in Midnight Green. I just think of Reggie White as a Packer. His rise as an Eagle. What year did he start playing for the Eagles? I'm trying to think. So, I mean, some of my early memories as an Eagles fan, like one of my first games, I really, truly remember watching the entire game was the Fog Bowl, which was what, 88? So Reggie White was what, drafted in 86? Something like that. I'm trying. So, yeah, I was young, but I still remember enough of it. But my listening to the radio every day and calling into radio stations and like really, really, truly caring about sports in general probably started around 89, 90, 91, somewhere in that range, where I was taking it a little bit more passionately and remembering things and understanding sports a little bit more. Not that you would think I understand sports, but so maybe that's why, Matty B. Maybe you got to be in your 50s to really respect and understand that. All Hurts has ever done to this point is lose. Everybody but one quarterback every year wins a Super Bowl. So basically what you're saying, if you haven't won a Super Bowl, you're a terrible quarterback. Basically is what you're saying, Matty B. Every quarterback in the NFL was a loser last year outside of Patrick Mahomes the last 2 years. Actually, since they've won 2 in a year, all the quarterbacks in the NFL are losers because only one quarterback has won a Super Bowl the last 2 years. That is basically what you're saying there. And again, bogus. Very solid. Not close to elite, which is what McNabb? Look, you're talking the biggest McNabb guy. But McNabb's career had so many failures in it. Herbert hasn't done anything, and he is supposedly a load of horse shit, Duck. Horse shit. Well, we've been talking a lot of Eagles football, Mad Chatter, pretty much all day. Just so you know. Phillies have been on the agenda. Sixers, the Olympics have all been on the agenda. But 90% of today's conversation has been Eagles. Just so you know. Reggie White came to Eagles after USFL folded. Thoughts on Lockett coming to the Eagles? Did he come to the Eagles already? I talked about the potential and the rumor of that a week or so ago, and I love the idea. If he could be had cheaply, Joe, would love him. John, do not click on Lisa's comments. Don't. 1985 was Reggie White. Yeah, so I was 5 when he came to the Eagles. So a little young. Reggie White only played, and that's the only reason why people love Kelly Green is because Reggie White wore it. Matty B coming in. Matty B is always, yeah. McNabb had to throw to guys like Fred X and James Thrash and Todd Stinkston and Torrance Small and Charles Johnson, and I can name them all. Hank Baskett. That's stupid logic. Getting to the Super Bowl is an accomplishment. Winning playoffs, getting to the playoffs sometimes is an accomplishment based off of where your organization is. Exactly, Duck. Stupid logic. That you have to win the Super Bowl, and if not, you're a loser. It's stupid. Yeah, we all won a Super Bowl, but it's not realistic. It's just not. This conversation took a left turn today, guys. Wanted to talk Phillies. We did a little bit. Matty B wasn't in the comments, hearing his name being called out in the comments in the early show talking Phillies. Wanted to talk Sixers Summer League. Thank God. I think the Utah League now is pretty much over because they lost the last 2, so I think they're done. I don't know for sure, but hopefully they are. Till the Vegas Summer League, and then everyone can overreact again. I'm glad it's over. McNabb also had a great defense. He had great defense, great special teams. He also had a pretty great offense line. Not as elite as is now, but there were some bangers on that offensive line for him. He had pretty solid running backs in Westbrook and Deuce Staley. So let's not act like McNabb had nobody. It's not like McNabb was playing with a bunch of IFL guys and couldn't succeed. For the Eagles, I believe it's either the 23rd or 24th when rookies report, and then like the 26th when the rest of the team. So we're less than 2 weeks from Eagles training camp, which is fantastic. I can't wait. Reggie White was the minister of defense and only Eagles during the Buddy Ryan era that wasn't a foul-mouthed party animal. Yeah, absolutely. McNabb had the better coach. Now that is something I can agree with. for sure. Andy Reid now is going down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. Nick Sirianni is still too young to judge. Nick Sirianni might be a bozo. He might not be. This year, he's got, in my mind, Nick Sirianni has 1,000 times more things to prove as a head coach than Jalen Hurts does as a quarterback. Jalen Hurts is much closer to being an elite quarterback than Nick Sirianni is to being a mediocre coach. He's on the hot seat. Jalen Hurts is not. Plain and simple. Plain and simple, in my opinion. I think it's crazy. It's crazy. I didn't expect the conversation to turn into a Jalen. I feel like the radio stations, we bash them all the time because all they want to do is stir up Jalen Hurts drama. Now, we didn't stir up any Jalen Hurts drama today. We had a Jalen Hurts conversation. I tried to steal the conversation away from it, but there's a reason why the radio stations talk Jalen Hurts all the time. Now, I wish they went about phrasing things differently in their social media posts, but it draws conversation. Jalen Hurts is a conversation guy. He is. It's just where the conversation, when the Eagles come up, the conversation always gets steered. I got Eagles. We're about to wrap this show up. We're up against the time. Time to get to work. Got to be in and out real quick. 2 hours at work today. 10 to 12. I got a lot of things, appointments today. So I got to get a lot done in 2 hours. But we're on a hard time here. A couple minutes. No matter where we start the conversation, you start talking Eagles. It's just all, I got ideas to talk about. I want to talk about the cornerbacks. I want to talk about Nolan Smith more. Bring up some other conversations, the coordinators more. But wherever we talk, conversation always tends to swing right over to Jalen Hurts. Because it's such a, I don't want to use the word argumentative. It's such a debatable topic. Eagles quarterback is a debatable topic. Yes, appreciate that, Barbara. As always, I appreciate everybody that tunes in. Guys, I didn't say it enough times. Make sure you're hitting that like button. There's 17 likes on Facebook, and I didn't even share the show out once. So muchas gracias on that. Don't know how many are on YouTube, but probably not 17 and not enough. But, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, that follow button on all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Please get the word out. Best morning show in Philadelphia is right here. The best sports conversation channel, Edge of Philly Sports, right here. Literally every topic covered on this channel. Lacrosse, soccer, wrestling. Joey Woods has got credential to go to the big boxing match coming up soon to cover it for the website, EOPsports.com. But guys, locked in. Imagine being a millionaire professional athlete and getting cursed out by your coach in front of everyone on national TV. It would suck. I don't know who you are, Blanche, but yeah. Devereaux. Probably something to do with Devereaux Sports. Probably. Anyway. Guys, with that being said, I'm Phil Stiefel. Find me on social. Oh, hold on one more time. Regardless of how our seasons end for our Philadelphia sports teams, we're pretty damn lucky to have good organization. I think this is a perfect way for me to end the show here. Because, yeah, we haven't won a lot of titles, but we have some pretty respectable organizations that do things right on the field, in their offices, and in the communities. We have some damn good organizations here, Jose. I agree with you 1,000%. And I appreciate you ending the show with such a positive comment. But with that being said, we are going to wrap up the show right there. I am Phil Stiefel. You find me all over social media at Bearded Knowledge. Again, like, subscribe, share, follow wherever you're watching. I'll be back tomorrow for Football Friday. Maybe we'll kick off the show with a football topic and then get into Phillies and everything else. We'll see what kind of. I won't be setting up the show till late tonight. I'm going to be out of the store all day today. So I won't be able to set the show up till 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. So it'll give me the whole day to see everything that's going on and make a decision on what the topics will be tomorrow. Next week, Chris Franklin, NJ.com. Uriah Young, NBA Now and Then. And, shoot, who's my Friday guest? I'm drawing too many blanks lately in my brain and in my mind. Who's my Thursday or my Friday guest? Chris Franklin. Oh, where is all my notes? I got way too many notes written down here. I got a Friday guest, too. Oh, Gabe Martinez. It's because he's not on Twitter. Gabe Martinez, who is going to talk coaching with us. He's a Texas guy, so he knows Kellen Moore really well. He's a really big Jalen Hurts supporter, and he's been coaching in football for a very long time, Gabriel Martinez. So he's going to we're going to get the coach's opinion on some of the things and the changes in the Eagles coaching organization from that. So Gabe Martinez, Chris Franklin, Uriah Young all next week. Tomorrow, Football Friday, and who knows what else, guys. But ring that bell. Go Birds. And guys, bubbles up to you.